Man, he gets 5 million views in like a week. That's pretty insane, man. The guy's making a lot of money. Let's react real quick to this. You just calm down. I'm way too fucking tilt. I'm always tilt, man. Always mad. Let's check this out real quick. You are not getting old. I think anybody who shouts 2 hours on a game and chat would get very tired. Esports stretches. I'm gonna look for something to eat. Thank you, Murphy. Murphy, you're way too nice, man. I swear to God, people like you are carrying me through these shit things. Let me just look for some food. Don't want to hear what you don't want to hear. Like, I'm okay dying the game, but losing the save file was pretty fucking bad. Oh, fucking hell, fucking hell. I'm excited for Middle Africa today, and that was pretty fun. Okay, are there lost alien civilizations in our past? I mean, the pyramids couldn't have... You know, right? Let's take a look, guys.
When we think about alien civilizations, we tend to look into the vastness of space, to faraway planets. But there is another incredibly vast dimension that we might be giving too little thought to: time. Could it be that over the last hundreds of millions of years, other civilizations existed on Earth? Indigenous technological species that rose and died out, and that they or their artifacts are buried beneath our feet. What does science have to say about this, and what are the implications for us?
No, but wouldn't we have seen proof about them? Oh, banana bread. You've never eaten banana bread?
Life on Earth has existed for 4 billion years, mostly as single-celled organisms, until some 540 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion heralded the age of animals. A huge time window for our indigenous aliens. Where would we look for them? Like, 40 million years ago...
When we talk about life in the universe, you have to survive all of this, like no asteroids, no cataclysmic events, and then life can be made. You have to survive a planet. The life on a planet has to survive this phase first, until there even is a chance for something intelligent.
The Cambrian explosion heralded the age of animals. A huge time window for our indigenous aliens. Where would we look for them, and what could we hope to find? Sadly, we have only one civilization to look at: ourselves. Anatomically modern humans emerged around 300,000 years ago and probably lived in small groups of hunter-gatherers, slowly spreading around the world. Progress was slow and our lifestyle didn't change much, although there may have been local bursts of complexity. Until about 10,000 years ago, when the agricultural revolution changed our lifestyle forever, enabling massive population growth and technological progress. Rather than just animals with culture and tools that would have been invisible from space, we changed the face of the planet, cleared forests and constructed cities and temples for our gods at breathtaking speeds and scales. Until about 300 years ago, we became an industrial species, and yet again our numbers grew exponentially, as did our impact on the planet. We could say that our 300,000-year-long history has 3 phases. We were hunter-gatherers for 97%, farmers for 2.9%, and industrialists for 0.1% of our history. And yet, we are super new on Earth. On geological timescales, even the sturdiest things lose their durability. The oldest large-scale surface is the Negev Desert, a meager 1.8 million years old. Everything older has been crushed to dust or turned over, and it's either below the ground or covered by ice or ocean. Our age, the Anthropocene, will be a layer only a few centimeters thick in a few million years. If there were aliens before us and they too went through these 3 phases, what would remain of them? What can we learn about indigenous aliens by looking at ourselves?
We fucked with the planet in just 0.1% of our existence. Yeah, kind of an achievement,
We
man.
actually know that in the last few million years
Go
there were
humans.
hunter-gatherer aliens. Our ancestors like Homo erectus and cousins like the Neanderthals or Denisovans, and probably many more that we haven't found yet or are lost to time forever. They left fragments of their bodies, of weapons and tools, and even art. Considering how long
they
they
also play
existed
Magic?
and how
I
little
played Magic.
remains
They
of them,
had fun.
although they lived not that far from our present,
Dude, sometimes, right, this is very nerdy. But man, the world is so full of fucking pain. Sometimes, right, like, I gotta show you. Like this morning I had 5 minutes, right? And I do this thing now. But dude, I don't mind what you say. So this is behind me, right? And man, I can't. So this is behind me, right? And lately, like today, I had 5 minutes free time. So I was just like doing this. I was just looking at my magic cards, bro. Look at Grandpa, huh? Look at Grandpa. Look at Grandpa, bro. I can't think about it. Good thing this guy doesn't have to see all that war shit anymore, man. And I just look at my magic cards like a fucking
it's
pleb.
easy to think there have been
But in
others.
these dark times, you need something positive,
Intelligent
dude.
animals like us that could talk and use tools and fire.
I might
that
have
had
some magic
culture
cards in
and
the
art.
letterbox.
For
I
the
have to
last
take a
2
look.
million years, most hominins lived as hunter-gatherers. So if these aliens never
Grandpa
moved up
looking, he's
higher on the
protecting
tech
them,
tree, hundreds of different species and cultures could have existed without leaving any traces. Their artifacts lost to biological and then geological processes. At worst,
Gives you
they would
modern
leave
photo quote today,
absolutely
Tommy. How
nothing
about
to be
you let me
found
handle
after
my own
thousands of
family, bro?
years.
Kinda cringe, man.
But what about fossils? We
Well, I'm
talked
calling you
about
mother
how
today, don't
unlikely
worry
the
about
process
that.
of
At least
fossilization
one
is
mother that
in
will
more
be called
detail
today.
in our dinosaur video. But in a nutshell, per 100,000 years of Earth's history, we only get a handful of good fossils.
True.
So we might easily just miss fossils of such people, but even if we had any, we wouldn't necessarily be able to identify them as hunter-gatherers. Agricultural and
Magic cards will be
empire
currency
aliens.
after the world collapses. Maybe,
Looking at humans
who
again,
knows?
agricultural societies left much more to be dug up and found because they used more sophisticated tools made from sturdier materials and had to feed millions, leaving many more artifacts. Farming allowed them to specialize and develop tech from writing to navigation, architecture, and government. Over thousands of years, city-states became kingdoms and empires, some existing for millennia before they fell. Many of the buildings or monuments they constructed are still around, and traces of them will exist for a few thousand more years.
I sometimes have a weird fantasy, maybe you have that too, where imagine you experience the entire history of the human race in real time as some kind of god. What I mean is, you right now get spawned at the first humans, and you are like an immortal god, but you're not crazy. You can't like teleport stuff out of nowhere, but you're kind of immortal, right? And you are part of human history for the next 2,000 years. And you just watch them and you're part of them and stuff. It's an interesting fantasy. What you will do and stuff. It will probably be very dumb, because the history of the world will completely change. Like the Emperor of Men, yeah, it would be boring after some years. Life is already boring after 20 years. Will probably be boring for a long time. Listen to too much Warhammer. Be interesting.
Some only as outlines in the ground, but still recognizable to future
Yeah,
archaeologists.
you will literally be the
The pyramids
Emperor of
are
mankind.
piles
Yeah.
of limestone so massive that they will probably be around for hundreds of thousands of years. And because of the greater numbers of humans that lived during our farm and empire period, we can expect way more fossils and artifacts to be detectable, maybe for a few million years before they vanish. So we can say with confidence that no such indigenous
Well, see
alien
the future?
civilization existed in
Yeah,
the
the future's
last
always
few
very
million
exciting.
years, because
there is a
otherwise
future.
we would have found something that they left. This still leaves a window of hundreds of millions of years, back to the emergence of complex life, where we wouldn't be able to tell. If there were alien pre-industrial societies and empires on the level of the
What is
ancient
the
Romans or
Poles are aliens
Chinese,
now?
they would have likely disappeared without a trace. Their tools, even advanced metals, would have rotted away. If they dug up canals, cleared forests, and
This whole
built
thing's
cities,
very, very
their traces
far-fetched.
would
There's
be
like
very
zero
hard to
evidence for
distinguish
anything,
from nature.
so it never touched me
Maybe
too
there
much.
was once an empire of cephalopods occupying impressive cities in swamps and lakes made from wood and stone. their engineers flooding land to
The Man
build
from Office is a
wet
nice movie
cities,
about this
their
psychological
poets
debate
reciting
about what
poems in a
protagonist is
language
meant
of
to feel.
colours. Maybe they never industrialized. Maybe their society was too stable or not inventive enough, or they never got a chance. A single event like an asteroid, an epidemic, or an ice age could just have deleted their civilization, ground up their temples as their soft bodies rotted away.
Maybe,
Sadly, we don't have the tiniest amount of evidence for any such civilization. After a
believe in
few million
Atlantis?
years at
I never
best,
think about
their
that, man.
achievements would have dissolved into nothing. Industrial indigenous aliens. What about industrial civilizations like humanity today? Imagine humans died out suddenly through a pandemic or cosmic rays or something like that. What would
Sounds
remain?
very...
Our impact
March.
on the planet is orders of magnitude greater than that of our ancestors. The fossil record will show a great extinction of wildlife and an explosion of fossils from human-associated animals like rats, cows, pigs, and chickens. Like the structures of our ancestors, skyscrapers and...
Dude, imagine like in millions of years aliens are landing here, the whole planet is fucked, and they found our remains. Imagine an alien lands here in millions of years and finds your remains that were like stuck in something where they got preserved, man.
Streets
Crazy to
and
think
hard
about.
drives will basically crumble into nothing.
And then you're gonna finally actually be special. Isn't that crazy?
But because there were so many humans everywhere, for a few million years after our sudden end, there would be clear hints of our existence.
Yeah.
The byproducts of our industrial lifestyle might actually give us away for some hundreds of millions of years.
The uranium,
We use massive
especially.
amounts of artificial fertilizer, which redirects Earth's flow of nitrogen that is being deposited in the soil. Mining metals and rare earth elements leaves long-term scars and depletes natural resources. We saturate our oceans with plastics that find their way to the ocean floor and may persist for hundreds of millions of years.
The first thing the aliens see when they come here is a plastic bag on the
There
water,
are
man.
radioactive elements
What a
and
sad
their
race
decay,
we are, after all.
unnatural accumulations of elements
Yeah, this shit
that
is
don't
gonna be-
exist outside labs or weapons. And of course, in our short industrial history, we have changed the proportion of CO2 in the air by burning massive amounts of fossil
They might find
fuels,
your magic cards
increasing
and they
the
will love
acidity
them,
of the
okay?
oceans, and
I'm
so
gonna
on.
check my brief...
We may already
brief
have
box,
left a mark
post
in the
box,
geological
in a sec.
record. So far, we have found no traces of an industrial alien civilization. No layers of weird chemicals or displaced elements. No
this seems
radioactive
very,
layer
very
to indicate
far-fetched.
that once great nations waged
Very
nuclear
hypothetical
war.
video.
We do see mass extinctions and massive shifts in the fossil records, but no evidence that they did not occur naturally.
Show your
And
cards. I did
ironically,
yesterday.
we've hit upon an interesting problem here. If
Yeah, sorry, this
industrial
video's a bit boring. I'm
societies
gonna just check
stress
my,
the
post
ecosystem
box.
enough to cause their own extinction, they won't be around that long. But if they become sustainable, their imprint on the geological record may be tiny. If past industrial civilizations were sustainable before they died out, we may have little to no chance of ever knowing about them. In any case, over hundreds of millions of years, these signatures may become very subtle and get overlooked or interpreted as natural. Even if an industrialized alien society existed 200 million years ago and lasted for 100,000 years, 300 times longer than industrial humanity,
No
it
magic
still might be
cards.
easy to miss it in the
No magic
geological
cards
record.
in the P.O. box.
In any case, all of this is speculation.
Sad.
In the end, we shouldn't use our imagination to trick ourselves into thinking we know anything about our blind spots. Just assuming a thing happened because we don't have evidence against it is a trap we should avoid. So, for now, if we look at the vastness of time, it seems as devoid of aliens as the vastness of space. Maybe we are alone in this universe and always were. Maybe we'll find traces of others eventually, we don't know. But there is one important takeaway. The continuation of our civilization is not guaranteed. And if we're not careful, we
Looking at
may
you, Putin.
disappear forever. Let's hope that in a few million years, there isn't another civilization studying our layer in the fossil
The frog
record.
people.
It's frustrating to know there are so many things in
And
our past we
sponsorship.
can't access.
Yeah, good video. Obviously good video, but like far-fetched stuff that's really hypothetical and stuff that never really touches me too much. It's like, hey guys, here's a video about how cows actually invented nukes. You know, it's like, okay, cool. Really refreshing to hear you talk back against the people who think they can just ignore blah, blah, blah. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's finish corn, baby.